a.m. Central Standard Time. I want you to tune in with me and have a merry Monday every Monday morning, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network live. We're streaming live. We want you to go to New Orleans Talk Network and join us on today. Welcome, Patrick. I have Patrick Thomas that is sharing with me in the studio this morning. We're dealing with the Strong Man episode, and we've been dealing with it all month long. And I have brought some powerful, powerful strong men in the studio, and I am so delighted to have my boy P. He's here today sharing with me this morning. We're talking about the strong man, and Patrick indeed is a strong man. I've watched my brother just labor in the vineyard with his Pastor Preston Jones, the city of refuge, New Orleans. And he's just an on point guy. I watch him esteem his pastor and support and undergird him in every area. And Patrick, I just love the relationship that you have with your spiritual father, Pastor Preston Jones, who will be sharing with us in just a moment. And we're going to bring him in. But I love the connection and the transparency that you both share. That is so powerful within itself. I watch you as a single father. See, we talk about single moms, and we always giving the credit to the wonderful moms that are holding it down. But this is a strong brother that's holding it down. Have two beautiful children, and I just watch him in the church serving the man of God and taking care of his kids. He always bring them to church with him. So if y'all looking for a strong brother that's solid, right there, right there, we call him Deacon Light Skin. But that's my boy Patrick, and we're just gonna keep it real. And I thank you, Patrick, for coming on, because I know even with Real Talk with Mary J at our 10 o'clock p.m. hour, you come on and you had some really strong points for the strong woman episode as we dealt with that. And you're just a solid brother, Patrick. And one thing that I really love about your spirit, first of all, you're humble. You have a submissive spirit. I see you as you serve your man of God. And I tell everybody that only comes with being submitted, being humble, because the anointing cannot flow unless you're submitted to the one that you're serving. And I watch you serve Pastor Preston Jones in a great way. And I know that's why God is blessing you, and he's going to continue to open doors for you and your beautiful two children. They're such a sweetheart. Patrick, we're talking about the strong man. We've been dealing with the strong man, and we're going to continue to deal with it throughout the month of June. And like I said, I had some powerful strong men that came on the show. You know, we're talking about, first of all, the strong man, the one that's solid, that's holding it down, like yourself. That's why you're on Real Talk with Mary J. That's right. And secondly, we talked about the camouflaged man and the caved man. And we know the caveman is the one that kind of keeps everything locked in the back of his mind, that tunnel that he doesn't allow anybody to come in. He doesn't want to deal with his emotions. He just go things in life, just trying to cope with those things on his own. And it can lead him into all type of, directions, whether it's gambling, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, whatever it is. But that's what happens when you cave your mind and lock things, or you just shut down and you withdraw and you just don't want to deal. But one thing I love about you, because this is what we're going to talk about even on today, the perfect gentleman, you know, the perfect gentleman, because I am big on that. And that's right. That's right. And you have such that posture and disposition of a perfect gentleman. So we're going to talk about the strong man, Patrick, and then we're going to deal with the perfect gentleman as well. Let me hear from you, Patrick, as it relates to the strong man.
Well, I grew up in a household, like I said, my mom and dad were both present, and I think that plays a lot into it as well. Just having both elements of seeing the dynamic between my mother and my father.
Mm-hmm.
My father wasn't always the best, but what he was a provider. So I kind of got, well, the man has to be the head, you have to be the strong and do things for the family, but also from my mother, there was this compassionate strength and she poured a lot into us as well. The gentleman aspect, there's nothing wrong with opening doors and
Good.
pulling out
Mother
chairs
taught
and
you well.
oh yes, oh yes, yes ma'am. So I think a lot of that strength came from just seeing how both parents operated, um, where we are taught that you have to be the provider,
Right.
you have to be the head of the household, but at the same time, you have to show compassion. You have to be able to relate to everyone on all levels, not just those other caved minded individuals,
That's right.
but you have to be able to relate to the men and the women that you meet in everyday life. So,
That's tight. That's really good, Patrick. And and I can see, because I believe and just as you said, the strong man has to be one that is reared from a child. It's difficult to make a man strong when he's already a man. The Bible says, train up a child in the way that
yes,
he or she should go, and when he's old,
they shall not
they
depart
shall
from it.
not depart.
That's right.
And I can see that you had that solid foundation. You've had that training. And I said, I don't find that anymore. So I'm looking for a generation of today.
Chivalry is not
You
dead.
say that,
Chivalry is not dead.
Patrick, you say that chivalry is not dead, brother, but there's some dead generations today. You're not a part of them. You're not one of them. But what I find, and when I say that I don't find that anymore, I'm always asked the question, do I find that in certain generations, certain age groups? Um, Definitely in the 20s, those who are in their 20s, you don't find gentlemen opening doors, pulling out chairs. You don't find that. You don't find gentlemen um, that would lead a lady up the stairs and follow her down. You don't find that. I remember you said that back in the day there was where men would put their coat
Put your coat over the puddle.
over
That's
the
right.
puddle.
But I think that's not just lost on the generation. It's just the difference of the upbringing. Because I mean, I would hope that my son, once he's of age, will do some of the same things as well. I'm not remiss in showing him those things as well.
Right,
This is how you treat your sister. This is how you treat your mother, your lady, and so on and so forth. So I don't think that it's just a generational thing. It's something that we've gotten away from just because the lack of, like I say, I grew up in a household with both my mother and my father, and today you have so many households, so many generations who grew up without seeing a strong positive male image, so they have nothing
right.
to relate to in that
That's
aspect.
good.
I can't know that I should pull out a lady's chair if I've never seen that before.
Right,
If the positive images, or just the images that I have of what a man should be like, is standing on the corner in front of the corner store every morning
right,
drinking a beer, that's all I'm going to ever grow up to be, because that's all I know. My mind can't see past that corner store. So I don't think it's something that's just lost on men in their 20s. It may be lost on guys who don't have those positive male images in the home on a consistent basis.
right. That's so true. That's a good point. I have a 20-year-old son, and I teach him that, and I've been teaching him that since he was a teen. And I started with myself, and then I started with his sister, who his sister is 11. Well, she's 14 now, and he's 20. But I teach my son, open the door for your sister, open your door for your mom. Don't have me walking past you with bags in my hand and you not take them out of my hand.
That's what a strong mother is, and you have the wherewithal to instill those traits in your son from a very, very early age.
Right,
You won't see very many mothers doing that for their sons now because of the work. Excuse me. You have to be both mother and father, and sometimes those lessons are different to relate to a young man growing up when you haven't had that yourself as a young black mother.
right,
I think a lot of time we get away from the role that the male plays within the household. I'm a strong believer, and I was always told growing up that mothers are great, and I love my mother for everything she is and everything she was. But I strongly believe that a woman, no matter how strong, she cannot teach
mm-hmm.
a man
That's right.
how to be a man.
That's correct.
So
That's correct. And and that's one of the challenges that I face, not trying to teach him how to be a man, but I find myself sometimes being a single mom that I have to withdraw sometimes when it comes to um, I guess correction with
mhm,
him at age 20.
mhm,
Because, and ladies, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm getting ready to say too. If you're a single mom out there, we have to pull back when it comes to correcting our sons, particular teens and okay, because I don't want to be a dominating female voice that he continues to hear that brings about correction all the time. I don't want him to have that image in his brain that he continues to hear his mom's voice, the female dominant voice in his head. Now I'm gonna tell you why. Um, because when young men are and I'm saying not taking away from my parenthood, I'm gonna still be that, but I can really come with a rap sometimes, is what I'm saying, because I was a teen mom. So the things that I knew earlier on, and I know you guys, mature a little slower than us females. So there's certain things that I would expect him to know and to do, and things that I've taught him, things that was instilled in him, and I don't see him doing that, and it gets me frustrated. So I would light into him at times. And then there's times when I have to say, okay, now, if he continued to hear you on and on like that without having the male voice in he needs a male mentor to help him and to show him and to teach him, that won't always turn out to be good for most young men.
I don't think that it's necessarily a problem. Discipline can come in all forms. There's never anything wrong with life's lessons, as long as they're being shown the right way. I think and at some stages of life, we all go through rebellious points. I know I had one,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a time in my life that me and my dad really, for whatever reason, didn't talk. And mentally, even though I was very much so still a child, I felt like I couldn't be told anything by anybody, and it didn't matter whether it was man or woman. But like I said, a lot of those things still. I'm 32 years old today, and I can still play over in my mind when I'm dealing with my own children,
Right.
my two
We
children.
find ourselves, our parents
I
in us.
can hear myself
Right.
saying the exact same thing both my mother and my father did. So don't ever think that you're doing anything wrong by lighting into them, because, like I say, discipline can come in all forms, and especially at those early ages, those early to late teens. I'm a very strong believer that males need that, because it's very, very easy to go off of the right path.
Right. Right.
And even myself, I work within the school system. I see it every day, and to some extent, I think they need a collar around them at times. So even though you can go on the assumption, well, he doesn't know, or I expect him to know certain things, but he's not doing what I want him to do.
All right.
Remind him anyway.
Yeah, that's most definitely. And I do that. But I'm talking about a 20-year-old. He's
Hey,
no longer a
hey,
teen. I do remind him.
men mature much slower than
Oh,
women, so don't,
jeez.
like, just continue to let him know. Continue to let him know. I have stories for days. I have a 25-year-old brother. I love him to death. Up until he was 23 years old, I thought he was an idiot.
Okay.
I mean, but like I said, at some point it'll click.
It'll go.
So
Okay.
don't worry about the age. He will get it. Just let him mature at his own pace. He'll get it. Just continue to remind him, even though it's frustrating. And as a parent now, I can understand my mother and my father with the yelling and stuff like that. I'm not gonna keep reminding you to.
Right. That's me. And I don't like to raise my voice. Believe my kids would say otherwise. They would say, "Oh yes, you do. You always because they tell me I'm such a great mom. They told me the other day, you're such a great mom."
Of course, of
Um,
course.
but Aaliyah said, "But you're annoying." And PJ said, "You're annoying, mom. You're a great mom, but you're so annoying." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna tell my oldest daughter is 31. I said, I'm gonna tell my Kia that you all said that I'm a great mom, but I'm annoying. And Aaliyah said, but my kid thinks you're annoying too. So at least that lets me know that I'm doing what I'm
That's
supposed to
right.
do.
That's right.
That I'm
they'll
not
remember
just
that.
their
They're
friend,
gonna
even
remember.
though I show myself friendly and I'm a
right.
kid at heart.
That's
I have
right.
a great
That's
time
right.
with my kids, but to be an annoying mom is letting
That's
me
right.
know that they respect me as their mom and I'm still being mom to them. So I appreciate them and I love them all, and they're so far apart and unique in their own
They're
way.
gonna remember all those things.
Yeah,
They're gonna
so
remember all those things.
that's great. But Patrick, you are a solid brother, and you just hold it down. I see you carrying the weight, balancing those things out, and I just admire you
Thank you. Thank you.
a
That's my
great
job.
deal.
That's my
32
job.
years old.
Working like a Jamaican. That's my job. That's my
32,
job.
working and taking care of two beautiful little ones, and I mean they're with you in church all the time
Yeah.
as you serve as a deacon and an armor bearer to your pastor, and your kids are right there with you.
Nipping at my ankles the whole time.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I appreciate all that you do and the perfect gentleman you are. Keep pulling out those chairs, keep opening up those doors,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
keep being that example. So ladies, if you think there aren't any strong men out there, because we're going to deal with that probably in August. We're going to talk about where are the good men. I know some good brothers, lady, and Patrick Thomas,
That's
he's
right.
one
That's
of them.
right. That's
He's a
right.
solid brother. We're getting ready to go into our commercial, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned for more of The Strong Man with Real Talk with Mary J. We're keeping it live.
There are moments in life when we hesitate. Buying a home shouldn't be one. Markets are changing and interest rates are still low. Now is the time to make your move. At Rocksteady Realty, we are determined to find a home for you. We know the area, provide personal attention, and more convenience. For all your residential and commercial needs, contact Willie Jones at Rocksteady Realty at 504-460-3819. Discover the Rocksteady difference.
Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero, always delivering the best food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a reason why people keep returning to Wags. The food's always hot, great portions, and it's just down home good. Call ahead to order in advance at 504-348-3080. That's 504-348-3080. And let Larry know that you heard about Wags on the New Orleans Talk Network. Call him now. Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero. What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready because the conversation will be hot and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is the Reverend D. Jones
and Charles Stewart.
We will be coming to you live every Monday, 11 to 12 noon on New Orleans Talk Network, hosting a new show, A Church Without Walls. The church is us, and the church is you. We are church with no boundaries. Stay as long as you want, leave when you want. Remember, every Monday, 11 to 12 noon, tune into A Church with No Walls.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Captain Black.
This is Brother Al Mims. Join us for our new show,
The Hostages That Fight Back, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central.
We are all hostages to something.
But it's up to us
to find the courage to fight back and make the change.
So tune in to become the change you want to see in the world here on New Orleans Talk Network.
Brothers and sisters!
this world is coming to.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Happy Merry Monday. You've tuned in to Real Talk with Mary J. We're on the air live coming from New Orleans Talk Network. We're having a Merry Monday every Monday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm so glad that you came back with us. I hope you heard our first show before we went into commercial break, but we're right back from commercial break and we're dealing with the strong man episode. I have my boy in the studio on today, Patrick Thomas. He's a strong man, ladies. Yes, he is. He's a solid brother. He takes care of his family. He has 2 beautiful children. And he just continue to take care of those beautiful kids. He have them with him in church, and he served his man of God, Pastor Preston Jones, at the City of Refuge, New Orleans. Thank you, Pastor, for sending Patrick over to us, and he's gonna hold it down for Pastor Preston Jones. But Patrick, we were talking about the strong man. And of course, I said that you're a real solid brother because, ladies, listen, if you're tuned in, Patrick opened doors, he pulled out chairs.
I do a little bit of it all.
That's it. He would carry your bags to make sure he puts them in the cart.
Trash
you
and everything
see,
else.
That's what I'm saying. He just said that he just want a real solid woman. You know, you can't be, dominating. You can be strong and not be controlling. So Patrick is a solid brother and he's saved. Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's anointed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're talking about some real strong men, holistically, real solid men that will be coming on Real Talk with Mary J for the month of June. We're dealing with the strong man, the number of 6, and Patrick, my brother, is definitely a strong man and a perfect gentleman. Patrick, I want you to tell us some of the things as it relates, because I know at the City of Refuge with Pastor Preston Jones, you serve the man of God as his armor bearer. You're there with him supporting, and I watch you. Even on yesterday, we had Men's Day where we kind of did a tribute to all of the fathers, and you just was troubleshooting, keeping everything rolling, and it was a surprise to your pastor on yesterday for all the men to go forward. But let us hear about, because serving, first of all, as I say, you're humble. You have to remain humble, and you have to be submitted to the person that you're serving, especially when it comes to men and women of God, because it all flows when you're submitted to the person that you are serving. Let us hear more about your pastor being a strong man, because he's a strong, solid brother. Yes, he is. He's a strong, my boy, he's the pastor of City of Refuge. He worked with the law enforcement and the FBI, and he has a beautiful family as well, beautiful daughters and sons, and he takes care of them, and he's very engaged in their lives. So that's a solid brother right there. And I believe and I see that impartation as it relates to Pastor Preston and what he's doing and what he does with his children. I see that same thing with you and your kids, and then Deacon Robert and his kids. I'm talking about at the City of Refuge, some solid brothers that's holding it down. So let me hear from you as it relates to your pastor, why you serve the man of God, first of all, and how he has impacted your life during the time that you've been there under his leadership.
Well, first off, I strongly believe that you cannot submit or be in service to anyone unless you have the spirit of humility. You have to deflect things from yourself and completely strip yourself down. It's not a very prideful position at all because it's not in the glory of myself. And
Right.
for that matter, it's not really in the glory of him either, but for the glory of God. And he is the direct link between God and the rest of our church. He has that flow, that connection, and he is our spiritual father, our spiritual overseer. So my job, excuse me, to him is in nothing but service. I met him some years ago, dealing with law enforcement, and didn't knew he was in the ministry at all. But it was just at a loss time of my life, and we wound up reconnecting. And again, had no idea he was pastoring.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him about the church, and he invited me, and I've been an attending member ever since. And I love the man he is. He has taught me so much and shown me so much, and it's because of him and his interactions with his family and within the church. I pick up a lot of those things. I tell him all the time, when I grow up, I want to be just like him. You
Yeah.
know, he has two of the most difficult jobs, I believe, that you'll ever get into, working in law enforcement and then pastoring a church. So
Right.
there's a very large burden placed upon his shoulders. At
Right.
times, it can be very stressful,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to take as much of that stress off
That's
of him
good.
as I can.
That's
I will never ever get it to the effect that he does. So I just hope that I can make things a little easier for him as we go through, move through service, or as we travel, whatever it is. I just want him to know I'm there for him always.
That's awesome, Patrick. Because a lot of people think that serving in ministry is glamorous and glorified. It really, really
Nah,
isn't. When
not
you
at all.
take upon the spirit of a servant, you go to the bottom of the bottom.
That's right.
It's none of you and all of
That's
God.
right.
Servants are not seen. We just know how to flow behind the scene and get things done. A lot of people think it's just about carrying up a Bible and putting it in the pulpit, but there's a lot that goes on beyond the
That's
scene
right.
of ministry. And I just watch you continue to do and serve your man of God. And it's a blessing because when we have somebody that's under us to undergird us in prayer, and I see you guys praying.
That's right.
Um, and let me tell you one thing that I've learned in ministry as well. I've been in ministry 20 plus years, and I've served a lot of men and women of God, and I consider it an honor and a privilege. It's always a blessing to be a blessing. And but one thing that I've learned is that when you are serving your man or woman of God, whomever they may be, when that person cares about you, they care about the people that you're connected
That's
with.
right.
Um, when you're impart and when they've imparted in your life, not only that they have affected your life, but they've affected everyone's lives that's connected to you. So whenever you get someone that does not care about you or your family or your children, you know, then that says a lot
That's right.
about that person. One thing that Bishop Robert C. Blake said, he's one of my mentors. I mean, the man, he doesn't even know how much he's impacted my life as a single woman. But one thing that I've heard him say is that it's not about who you're over, but it's who you're under,
Hmm.
you
That's
know?
right. That's right.
Um, and there's a transferring of spirit,
That's right.
an
That's right.
impartation that flows from the head down. So it's so important that you be connected and yoked up to somebody that I tell everybody every time, if you can't pray for your man or woman of God, you don't need to be under them.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
if you're there with them and you cannot pray that God will bless them, bless their ministry, bless their marriage, bless their family, then you should not even be connected to that man or woman
That's
of
right.
God. But one thing I know, when you're connected to the right one, not only that they care about you, but they care about your children. Something
That's
that
right.
you said to me when I was there helping you guys at the city, something that you said, I think Pastor was not feeling well, I think he had like a cold or something, and his sinuses was bothering him or something like that. And something you said, I said, Pat, I said, are you good? And I gave you a hug. You said, yeah, I'm good. And you said, as long as he good, I'm
That's
good.
right.
Because he
That's
got to
right.
be good. Because if he ain't good,
That's
I'm not.
right. That's
See,
right.
and that's what I'm talking about. Because you know that as long as you're a man of God, that God has entrusted to the kingdom, if he's good and he's well and he's strengthened and he's rested, you know that you're going to get everything that you need.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, a lot of times we pull on the word. We go to church, we want a word, we want a prayer, we want them to counsel our children, we want them to be there for us when we go through. But they have children, they have families too. Now, to whom much is given, much is required. But we can't stop praying for
That's right.
our men and women of God.
And I think that's one of the things that makes Pastor Jones such a dynamic pastor as well as a person. He is 100% accessible.
Yes, he is.
No matter who it is in church, from the youngest child to the oldest attending member, he is approachable, he is reachable, and he'll come down and communicate and party and ham it up with everybody.
Yeah, he will.
I tell him all the time, he's not just my pastor, but my spiritual father. He's my brother, my friend. And I think that's uh, where that bond between he and I was made stronger, is just the fact that I can call him my friend. I know that if I need him for anything, he has
Right.
been there. My children love him. They see him and they run up to him and
E-
hug him and kiss him.
Everybody,
And
everybody.
it's like that, exactly. It's like that with everybody. And when you have someone like that leading you and leading a congregation, it's very, very easy to follow, because he makes it known all the time that it's not about him, but it's about God.
Yes.
And I tell him I'm gonna hitch my wagon to his training
That's a
wherever he take
blessing.
us. I'll be there right behind him. So
That's right. That's right. You know, Elijah and Elisha say wherever he go, I will go, you know. And if I see him when he go up, I will have what he have, and that's a
exactly,
double portion.
exactly,
But and I'm not saying that those who are listening by radio to glorify man. What I'm saying is that we hear so much about crime
right.
and violence and black on black crime, but we don't hear the positive things that African American men are doing,
That's right.
strong men that are handling it in the city of New Orleans as well, because we hear so much about what goes on in New Orleans. And I'm going to have some strong men that's going to continue to come on Real Talk with Mary J, especially during the month of June. I have another strong man that will be coming the first Monday in July, and that's my boy Captain Black and L Mims. Solid brothers. They're holding it down, and they're gonna be here because we're gonna go into focusing on the family in July. So we're getting ready to go. Just for a few minutes, we're getting ready to go into our next break, but we want to come back and talk a little bit more about our solid brothers here in New Orleans. This is Real Talk with Mary J. We're coming from New Orleans Talk Network. We're live every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned for more.
Yo, this is Madman the Big Fan, one of the hosts from FanView on New Orleans Talk Network. Check us out on our new location, Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And remember, this is not a sports talk show. This is a talk show about sports. Make sure to tune in.
Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero, always delivering the best food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a reason why people keep returning to Wags. The food's always hot, great portions, and it's just down home good. Call ahead to order in advance at 504-348-3080. That's 504-348-3080. And let Larry know that you heard about Wags on the New Orleans Talk Network. Call him now. Wags Food and Culture at 1601 Plaza Drive in Marrero.
Hi, this is Jill Samuel with Faith That Works. Join us today as we allow the Word of God to change the lives of people by equipping the body of Christ to evangelize the world. I want to personally thank you for spending this hour with me and the body of Christ. Join us on Tuesdays from 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to 12 p.m. on the New Orleans Talk Network. Your encouraging coach, Miss Jill.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
This is Captain Black.
This is Brother Al Mims. Join us for our new show,
The Hostages that Fight Back, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central.
We are all hostages to something.
But it's up to us.
Find the courage to fight back and make the change.
So tune in to become the change you want to see in the world here on New Orleans Talk Network.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Bethesda the House of Prayer. Bethesda is a church for non-traditional worshipers, a church designed for those who love God's word. Would you like to attend a church where believers and non-believers can choose to worship together? A church where cultural differences does not get in the way of God's message. We invite you to be our special guest. Our services begin 9 a.m. on Sunday, located at 7601 West Bank Expressway, Suite B, Marrero, Louisiana. For more information, contact us at 504-348-0132.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Happy Merry Monday. You tuned in to New Orleans Talk Network. We're live on the air once again. This is Real Talk with Mary J, and I am your host, Mary J. We're coming from New Orleans Talk Network. We're on the air every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and you can also tune in to Real Talk with Mary J at blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Mary J. We're dealing with the Strong Man episode, and we're going to keep it real. All month long, we're going to go in real deep with the Strong Man. We have some solid brothers right here in the city of New Orleans. We have some solid brothers that are bringing it. And of course, I had my first guest, my mentor, Bishop Robert Charles Blakes Jr. was on as a strong man on our first show. And then I have my boy right here on today, Patrick Thomas, that is representing his pastor, Pastor Preston Jones, my brethren and my friend. Yeah, that's my boy. Another strong man that God has place in my life, and I just thank God for the two solid brothers that keep it real, and I just enjoy having you all on the show, even on Real Talk with Mary J live at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing with us. But so if you've tuned into Real Talk with Mary J on New Orleans Talk Network, we're streaming live. Go to NOTN, and you can also download the app. And we're right here every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're talking about the strong man, and Patrick have shared with us, for those of us that are coming, just tuning in. We just come back from our commercial break, but Patrick have shared what it means to be a strong man, that he was raised in a home where both parents were present, both parents were there. He saw the example of what strength was to him. A lot of times we miss out on just knowing what a strong man is and who a strong man is, if that person has not been before us, pulling out the chairs, my brother said, opening the doors, taking care of the lady. And you know what I say, a man walks on the side of the traffic, he walks against the traffic. You don't have your woman walking on the side of the traffic, you are in the corner going down the sidewalk, she crossing the street, the car's coming at her first. You know what I'm saying? Those are all of the things that men, gentlemen do. And Patrick, my brother, is a solid gentleman. He takes care of his two beautiful children, and he just is an all-around guy. Serves there with his pastor, Pastor Preston Jones. Thank you again, Patrick, for coming on Real Talk with Mary J on
It's my
today.
pleasure.
Well, we know we dealt with the strong man, Patrick, and also um the gentleman. I can't get brothers to touch the caved man. And it's kind of making me feel some type of way, because I believe if you can't touch it, what's going on? Are there some things that are caved that we just don't want to talk about? Now, see, Bishop Blake's touched it. Let me tell you what he said. Bishop Blake said he was a caveman at one time. And it was him being transparent with his spouse, his beautiful wife, Lady Lisa Blake's, that he told her his struggles and his weakness and what was going on. And it was her that helped him, that pulled him out of that place, out of that cave where he once was. So, but whenever I talk about, and I know my brother L. Sims is going to come on Real Talk, he's going to deal with it. Captain Black is going to deal with it. But I can't get men to talk about that caveman. When I tell them, look, I want you on Real Talk with Mary J, I want you to talk about the caveman. They're like, I'm not coming. I don't want to talk about that. They don't want to deal with
Right.
that.
Well, I can't speak for all men, but most black men are taught as children that you don't share.
Right.
You don't talk about your feelings. You don't express your feelings. It's something that's innate. I heard something extremely funny to me a very long time ago. Brother said, there is no need for me to go and see a shrink. I deal with my problems like all men deal with their problems. I keep them inside until they manifest themselves into a real problem and then go see a real doctor. So, it's like I say, we are trained, not to disclose certain things
Right.
because you're taught that as a man, you should bear the burden.
That's right. Yeah.
You keep those things inside because they don't do anything for anybody else. So it's better off that you find whatever way that you can to deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, you just lock it away and throw away the key.
Wow.
But those things are definitely not healthy. You should have
That's what
you
I'm
should
going to
have
say.
someone to be able to bounce things off of,
Right.
someone to vent to, whether it be your spouse or your pastor or a psychiatrist, anybody, to really get rid of those negative things with. And that's also one of the things that I love about my pastor. I'm able to talk to him about whatever I'm dealing with,
That's
whatever's
good.
going on. And he allows me to get rid of negative feelings and negative emotions. Not to say that I'm just dumping everything out on him to carry as well, but that's kind of the
That's
the,
the
the thing that we
relationship.
share.
Yes, that's
And
right.
you know, it, you can never ever just keep what you have inside, because it comes to a point to where if you do not express those things or those feelings, eventually they're going to come out into a negative light.
Right.
You're not going to be able to get rid of those things positively, and then, like we talked about earlier, they can manifest themselves into violent aggression. They
Right.
can manifest themselves into drug habits or
That's
gambling
right.
addiction or whatever else. So it's always key to dispose of whatever it is you're going through. Don't be afraid. And I think that's a lot of what it is, although I'm sure most men will never ever tell you they're afraid of anything,
Right.
but it's just the fear of letting someone else know, well, hey, this is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be looked at as someone of lesser value or lesser strength for
Mhm.
that matter. Excuse me. Men are characterized by strength by the things that they're able to bear.
Right.
And if someone was to tell me, no matter how big or how small I thought it was, it may have been something major to them. I tell people all the time, I may not know your struggle,
Mhm.
but just because I don't have or did not have your struggle doesn't mean that I didn't struggle myself.
Right.
No matter how big or small my struggle may be to you, it may have been huge to me.
Mhm.
So I think it is healthy that we get off of those feelings and uncage the man, as you would say. Let him free. Let all those negative images and all those negative feelings go.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought it like that, Patrick, and you pretty much made it plain. Um that it's more relatable now that people can really hear it. Because when we talk about the caved man, that tunnel in the back of a man's mind, just as you said, a lot of times that as children, as young boys, we're taught not to deal with our feelings.
You don't cry.
Big
You
boys
don't.
don't
That's right.
cry
That's
and
right.
men don't cry, and so they bottle their emotions. They like, oh, but let me tell you why I want to deal with the caved man, that mindset that's locked, because I see that destroying a lot of households.
Mm-hmm.
Many families are destroyed. That's why you have prominent leaders who marriages are destroyed because of homosexuality, um, perversion, that deals with pornography. And I believe that when you're married, and this is just me, when you're married and you yoked up to someone that you believe that is supposed to be your partner, that God has taken the woman from the rib of a man. And I say that all the time. We are blessed to be have taken from the rib of a man, from the part that is sensitive, that covers all of his main organs, that
Right.
protective cage.
Right.
God chose that part of the man to pull us out of and to create woman. Now, if you're connected to your woman, your strength, even though we're the weaker vessels, we're pretty
Oh
strong.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
pretty strong. We're solid. We can give birth,
That's right. That's
bring
right.
life into the earth
That's
realm.
right.
If men just understand who it is that God have in their lives, and just share with them what it is that they're dealing with, and be transparent. I myself, I love a sensitive, strong man. When you have your man telling you, this is what I'm dealing with, I didn't want to bring this to you. You wanted to know now. Now, you have to know who your woman is,
Right.
because a lot of times, ladies, we say we can handle it. We want to know. We don't really want to know, because you can't handle it, not all of it. But if you know who you are and you're a solid woman and you're saying, look, I want to know, I want to help, tell me what it is that I can do. Let me know what you're dealing with, and you mean it, then deal with it. Don't let the brother tell you stuff, share things with you, and then you really can't handle it and you go off in
Flip
your
out. That's right.
emotions. And, but I'm just saying, when you have someone that you can trust and confide in, because I believe every woman want or should want their man to come and talk to them, so they can deal with it. If you hurt, tell me why you hurt. Don't just keep telling me you've been hurt, you've been wounded. Tell me why. Tell me what happened. Let's talk about it. Let's work through it together. But I believe that we cover things and we keep things in a cave, and we don't let it come out of that tunnel of our mind. And you know, it's going to destroy, it's going to self-destruct at some point. You know, we don't want to have it all bottled in until now the relationship has been destroyed because you chose to keep it. You didn't
Right.
want to share it. And then years down the line, it comes out.
Right.
Now, I tell people all the time, when you plant a seed, that's a seed. You cultivate that seed. You don't just plant that seed and just allow that seed to be in the ground, because what happens is the way that you feed it. If you water it, it's going to grow.
Right.
You choose how it grows. You prune it. If you dealing with something and you keep watering that thing, now it's a seed, it then turned and now it's grown up to a big tree.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're trying to cut it down. Oh wow, really? Way
Right.
up there when you could have been weaning that thing, from the time that it was a little plant, you could have pruned it and it could have been just how you wanted. You
Right.
could have brought you the right shade, but
Right.
now you got a big tree because you continue to play with it and you want to water it because you don't want to deal with it. But we want to talk about the caveman, and we're going to bring that even more. And I'm so glad you brought that point out, because that is indeed why a lot of men lock things up and keep it in the back of their mind, because we teach them, real men don't cry, you don't show your emotions, you don't deal with things like that. And we just keep things caved up in our mind. But we're going to have some solid brothers that's actually going to be on talking and sharing.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, they're going to be on talking and sharing about the caveman.
Awesome.
For most that didn't want to touch it, we have some
Hey,
solid brothers
there's
that's
nothing
coming on
wrong
Real
with that.
Talk. That's good. That's coming on Real Talk with Mary J. That's actually going to touch it. That's going to deal with the caveman. So, I said, and I really, I'm trying not to call these names, but a strong man. I know you're solid. I know you're strong, and I know you're out there. Um, you're holding it down. You're trying to keep things together, but you're gonna come unglued if you try to deal with everything on your own. We see some solid brothers who have lost their families because they wanted to be that caved man. They didn't want to release it, and I think if they release certain things in its earliest stage and they let those things go, they'll be able to be set free.
Mhm.
What you think, Patrick?
Like I said, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I just think that, like I said, it all derives from a large portion of the way that we are manifest, that we are brought up. You are literally taught and brought up. Like you say, big boys do not cry.
Right.
You don't share your emotions. You don't express your feelings. If we can get away from that mindset,
Right.
we'll be able to unleash a lot of things. Not just that, but men and women both keep secrets for whatever reason, for many, many different reasons. A large portion of that is, you'll hear men say, "Well, I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings."
Oh my
You
gosh.
know,
I
you,
got something to say about. Go ahead.
it's just that fear of letting the cat out of the bag.
Why? The fear of losing what you have?
That's what, if that's how you want to put it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I've heard those things before. Well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't know how you would react to it. I didn't know what you was gonna say. But we are taught to sweep things under the rug.
Yeah.
I haven't met a man, particularly, especially when it comes to relationships or otherwise, that want to deal with many things head on.
Right.
If there's a problem, I'll just kind of turn my back to it until it goes away. I'll ignore it as best I can until it comes screaming in my face. So if we can get out of that mind frame
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull away from that one.
walking past certain things,
Yeah.
we can open up. We can allow ourselves to be free and more trusting with our partners if we are yoked up, if we, are on the same field, if we, are on one accord. I can be more free to trust you with my feelings and my concerns and my thoughts.
I think we trust in parts. So if you trust in parts and you allow that woman to deal with whatever it is that you've already, if she's proven herself, you've trusted her with this and she's proven herself to be able to handle that. You know, you have to be able to open up and allow her to be who she is, if that's who she's supposed to be in your life. We're talking
I agree.
Real Talk with
I
Mary
agree.
J. We're on New Orleans Talk Network. We thank you for tuning in to us every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Patrick, I always say, look, my thing, Mary J., Hurt me now, brother. Hurt me now. Don't wound me later. I don't need to be with you for 19 years to find out you've been dealing with something since I met you. Come on, really?
Put all your grievances on the
That's
table.
what I'm saying. Come out of your cave, man. Come on. Come on, really? Hurt me now. Don't wound me later talking about I can't handle. You don't know what I can handle.
I will try my best not to hurt you at all.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.